So g'day, my name is Glenn and I'm a shit talker pretty much. Yeah, bloody oath. So, disclaimer, whatever's in these videos, don't believe it, check it out for yourself. Bloody oath, mate. So, we're talking about food shortages. So, is there actually a food shortage in the world? By the way, I'm not an expert, as my introduction says. So, currently in Australia, we have a shortage of potato chips. And like the shortage of meat, blah 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 blah, 2 years ago during the whooping cough, this is a supply chain issue. So, there are, most of this is just supply. So, there's enough product in the world, we just need to ship it to the right location and they won't have a shortage. So, if you just type in, the search engine, food shortages, South Africa, they have a power supply problem. So they're starting to have a shortage of dairy products, chicken stuff. What else? Yeah, and probably some other stuff that are heavily reliant on electricity. So even the manufacture of biscuits, even wheat, made into flour, which turns into bread, that will start to be affected. Then we have in the UK, we have food security because the inflation rate was 16% in 2022. So, I hope you can hear me on that one. So, that would be food insecurity for the poorer people. We'll get to that in a minute. And the WFP, World Food Program, they always have a website about the global food crisis. So, this global food crisis mainly affects those who are poor. It's always going to affect those who are poor. It always has in the past. I've read about that they've, over the world, they found, people who died thousands of years ago, so they unearthed their actual where they're buried, and they find lots of malnourishment, lots of diseases that are now treatable, especially in the English-speaking world. Rome is one of, and probably also Iron Age, UK, mainly in Europe. It is mainly in the other languages, so it's not as popular. And, you can find that there's a lot of malnourishment in an archaeological record. So, this is nothing really new. But, a lot of people, not just YouTubers, but also those in journalism, politics, it's a broad field. They like to turn this into something that's really going to affect you, in which if you're like in Australia, you've got a job paying minimum wage, or even $25, $30, and you're not renting and you're not buying at $1 million, then you're actually surviving in Australia. So that's probably a third of people have actually purchased their house, a third are actually buying the house, and a third apparently are renting. So probably 1/3 is okay. Another third depends. Probably half of them are okay. The other half are probably not. And the renters, well, they're being shafted. So the renters who over the last year probably had 10-20% increase in their rent, probably struggling to buy food because the rent has gone up. The food prices have gone up, but wages have not necessarily gone up. Like my wage actually went up 11%, but that was because I was doing a good job. But I don't expect that for a majority of wages. Oh, no, before I got my job as a geotech, I was in a bakery, and you struggle to get $25, and that's working at night time. So that's really not a good industry to actually get into. And uh, if you really wanted a wage increase, I just said piss off. So that's how food would be affecting the working class and the poorer people. So you've got increasing prices, increases in no, not increases, decreases in their wage because inflation's reducing it. You also got a shortage of stuff because of supply chain issues. So that actually does push the price up of products a bit more. So I don't believe in all this. Food is scarce, in Australia, Europe, United States, because these are just glitches in the system. So, and within a month to 6 months, they're actually filled once they get production up. So so the supply chain was pretty much caused by the shutdowns. So that restricted the actual availability of product. And then when they went to open up, or when people got scared into something like another lockdown, they went and just brought everything. So that actually caused a supply, and they couldn't replace it quick enough. So they had to restrict it, or they had to increase the prices just to cover that, which is not surprising. Supply and demand, capitalism. Yes, I'm a bit tired. So, we're talking about something that's pretty much made by our governments and our economy. It's got nothing to do with nature. That will come later. So a lot of people are going, oh, common sense, it's all crap, all crap. Well, basic chemistry says carbon dioxide just retains more heat. It just does, so it doesn't radiate out in the planet, out into the solar system, as well as water. So any molecule that's made of two different atoms. So you've got water, H2O, so hydrogen and oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon and oxygen, methane, what's that? H3, so you got nitrogen and hydrogen. So they have two different molecules. Generally, they don't class like ozone, which just has the one type of element. What did I say? Two molecules? No, two elements. Yeah, that's my mistake. Oh, someone's going to roast me, and I'm just going to say, I don't care. So, yeah, you put a lot more carbon into the atmosphere. Yeah, for a time being, it's going to be okay. But as the planet heats up, dries out the continents a lot more, it causes torrential rain. So all these changes in the requirements that the plant requires are going to disrupt our agriculture. Probably also disrupt the lives of some plants and animals, and it will cause them to go extinct. Basically, if you look up the mass extinctions, uh, look up the Permian ones, that was caused by apparently mass ejection of lava, which increased the heat about 10 degrees over a short period of time. Would change the climate patterns all over the world. So that actually would have caused, well, it did, the greatest mass extinction in the world. So you can actually look up mass extinction. All the information you need to know. So if you can't tell me, pretty much if you can't tell me what carbon dioxide, why it retains heat, pretty much your opinion is not really valid. So all this conspiracy crap, well, everything's a conspiracy, man. Remember, countries and laws are made for the wealthy. They always have been since Sumerian times, since earlier civilizations. Because the rich have always wanted to control resources, and they always will, and they always want power, and they always want the masses to, to service them. Doesn't matter what type of government or economy you got, even the communist systems like that, the wealthy, even though it was communist, like Mao, he probably didn't have money, but he had a lot of power. And that went to his head, like, that's what Mao was doing every night when you're strangling some poor girl. That's sad. Anyway, so that's basically it. So we're not talking about the third world. So, you've got South America, Asia, Africa. Because the majority of people are poor, they can't really afford food. So even in the best times, a lot of them are probably also still malnourished and have food shortages, and a lot of them probably die of starvation. Like there's a famine in Somalia at the moment, apparently, and it's pretty much caused by pretty much the Somali people themselves. Your own people are the ones to blame for the problems in your own country. Can't really blame someone else, especially United States, Russia, China, or India. Why would you blame them? They're just supplying shit or not supplying it. And that's what the aid organisations, they blame the West for this starvation in Somalia. I don't buy that. Maybe the local government in Somalia should actually do something instead of fighting each other. So, anyway, there is no real food shortage yet. Maybe if this climate change does kick in, there probably will be. But this is the way I like to see it. It's the middle wage earners, so those in the middle income bracket, are not starving. There's no food shortage because the poor are always starving. The rich always have food. They're the last ones to starve. Anyway, I'd say thank you very much. I hope this upsets you because that's my intention. Thank you, and don't starve to death.